Hello, this is Bill again, and came up with this great idea. Had to make some last minute changes, but it's all going to work out. We'll do fine. But I want to make chicken noodle soup. It's so basic, really, classic the way it's made. I tend to make soups and I just throw stuff in it, and I like to do that. But I just want to kind of show you how we're going to make it the traditional way, and you can see for yourself. First of all, I got a pot here that I've got pretty hot, and you got to cook your veggies in olive oil. Well, you can use any oil, but I use olive oil. And people are just like, well, how much? Well, you just want enough that you know everything's getting coated. So depending on the size of the pan and how big it is, 3 tablespoons, 4 tablespoons. I always start with less. You can always add more. That's why it sits right next to my stove. So I can see it's already kind of fuddling away, so I know it's pretty hot in there. So I've got 1 large yellow onion that I chopped up fairly small, because you're not going to want any big chunks of onion in your soup. So here we go. Oh yeah. Just had to wait long enough to make sure that was hot. And it certainly is. I don't want that onion to feel alone, so I got myself, this was 3 really big carrots. Just cut them up to size. I just want to get them in there dancing around too. And making sure nothing's sticking. Everything looks like it's got enough coating of oil, so I think we'll be fine. But I'm not also sitting in a pot of oil, and I'm not trying to deep fry. Alright, so I just want to let that, you should get some fragrance already coming up from this. So it's maintaining pretty good heat in here, so while it's doing that, I got myself about 4 stalks of celery, and usually, unless the celery's, I always cut off the really wide part at the end. So usually just cutting it in half and then just slicing it down will do just fine. Get my mess. Alright, so we're going to keep this pretty toasty. All this stuff just, I use the word soften, but you can always tell, because the onion's going to start to become a little translucent, and the carrot's going to, you're going to be able to tell by your sniffer what's going on. So while this is staying nice and cooking, a little black pepper, a lot of black pepper, whatever you like. Like I said, this is traditional. You can do it. You can add whatever you want. And pinch of salt. So how you do a pinch of salt? Well, my grandma taught me, put it in your hand so you don't spill too much. A little bit around, and that's really it. Try not to put a lot of salt in my cooking, but I just need a little bit to enhance the flavor. You notice I didn't shake the salt into food. I don't like to cook that way, because you tend to overdo it. And I got friends that love salt, but it's not necessarily the best for you, especially as you hit those twilight years. Okay. Everything's looking good. Last but not least, I'm not going to go crazy with the garlic, because like I said, this is traditional. I got a couple good sized cloves of garlic, 3 small, 2 big, whatever you happen to have. And I'm putting this in towards the end simply because I don't want to burn it, I don't really want to cook it. I just want to get some flavor out of it. Alright, so why this is working, we're going to talk a little bit about stock. So, I got myself this lovely measuring cup. I love it. It's 8 cups. I make a lot of stuff with it. So, stock, broth, you know, it's all so confusing. We kind of cross the two. Technically, a stock has less flavoring, and you're using the bones to get this to make the stock. You boil for a long time. You can boil this stuff for, you know, simmer it 3-4 hours. Some people go even crazier. I find that I make a lot of turkey stock, and I know that it takes about you know, 3 to 4 good hours to really cook the bones down. So what I did with this, let me not forget to pay attention to my lovely pot here. So what I did for this is I like to use white meat. So I bought 4 split breasts. Don't need to do anything to them. I literally throw them on a hot grill, skin side down, and I just want to get a nice, you know, nice sear on it for the chicken, and you know, cook the fat out of it so the chicken's really good. And you want to make sure it's cooked completely. You want to get it cooked. Sometimes you got to kind of put them up and end to cook that fat edge of the breast. Then I let it cool, and I simply pull the chicken off. I like to use white meat. Some people think it's not as tender as dark meat. A lot of people use thighs now. Kind of do the same principle. You want that skin side down, the hot grill, and get it seared, turn it down, and just let it cook. You know, good sized breasts are going to definitely take you about 40 minutes on the grill. Thighs are going to take you 25-30 minutes even. But just make sure you know, the juices are cooked. Now obviously the chicken's going to continue cooking in the soup, but it's really kind of put in at the last minute. And what I do is I pull it off and I throw it in the freezer. So then what we want to do, because my stock is kind of a hybrid, I do like to have flavor in it. So I'm going to throw in like 12 cups of water. I'm going to have the bones in there, and I'm going to add probably a whole onion that I've quartered, a bunch of carrots that I've just cut in some good sized pieces, and some celery. Want like a couple bay leaves, a couple cloves of garlic. You can throw some peppercorns in. I like to use a little thyme. I like fresh thyme. I think it's really good with the chicken. And basically, like I said, you're gonna let it simmer. Then what you want to do is you want to strain it. So we're gonna put it through a strainer, and and oh yes, you cook it, so you simmer it covered. You're gonna put it through a strainer, put it in the refrigerator to cool, and then you want to skim off. You have a lot of fat on top, and then you can throw it in the freezer. This I actually made yesterday, so it's ready to rock and roll. Comes out pretty clear if you do it right. And this is definitely doing its thing. Can you smell it? Yeah. Darn. Probably get a lot more hits if people can smell this, but let me tell you. Alright. So, now I've got it to the point where everything's pretty soft. It's been 10 minutes. I've got some fresh thyme because I don't over season my stock because I don't know what I'm going to use it for. So I've got just about a tablespoon of fresh thyme. I don't know if you've ever seen thyme, it comes on a stalk. Basically rub it the wrong way and it pops right off, and then just take my knife and start cleaving it. Just want to stir this in real quick. Oh yeah. fragrance from the thyme is just outrageous. All right, so let's move on. Pour carefully. Oh. 8 cups. It was in the refrigerator, so it's going to take a minute to get it back up to temperature. This is really where you want all those flavors to start to come together. Just want this to sit here until it comes to a good boil. Little speckles of thyme in there. So as soon as this comes to a boil, your soup's essentially done. You've cooked the oils out of the thyme. The vegetables are all cooked, and this is really all there is to it. Cooking the stock is the hardest thing. You know, if you got a project around the house that you can keep it on the stove simmering while you go off and do things. If you work at home, you could probably do it. You know, just keep an eye on it. But I'm starting to see a little activity, so that's good. So now I'll tell you the funny part of the story is, so I had the chicken in the freezer. I'm looking for it, and unfortunately, I must use it for something else. So yesterday, out of desperation, I found I'd had some chicken that I actually cooked for fajitas that was left over in the freezer. So it's going to have a little bit of spice to it, but it is all breast meat that I cooked. So I basically just chopped it up, and I'm going to put it in here as soon as I can get this to a boil. It's starting to dance a little bit more. So this might have a little bit of flavor to it. It won't be bad, trust me. But sometimes you just have to look and see what you got lying around. Don't be afraid to try something new. If I were making this less traditional, which I already have because I messed up on the chicken, is, you know, you can add spinach. Green beans are good in soup. Corn's good in soup. I've even added you can add black beans. I find them, you know, whenever you add beans though, you want to make sure that you rinse them really well, and, you know, and shake out the excess water. The other thing is, I'm not sure how Campbell Soup does it, but you can't put the noodles in the soup at this point, because the noodles are going to absorb all the liquid and they're going to get kind of funky. I haven't found a noodle yet that is resistant to that, so I tend to have cooked pasta. I think, you know, if you think about traditionally when you bought chicken noodle soup as a kid, it had the, you know, 2 strands of spaghetti-like stuff in it. So that's what I tend to use, is either spaghetti or linguine. And I'll show you that in a minute so I get this darn thing boiling. But you want to, I put it in the bottom of the bowl, and then you can just take a butter knife, run your knife through it a couple times so you cut it up into smaller pieces. I don't mind eating the full length, you know, foot-long pieces of linguine, but if you're serving to someone, and you know, someone asked me not too long ago about soups and stews. Well, I always remind them that a soup, everything in it has to fit on the spoon. Stews are thicker because you put thickening agents in, and you're going to eat it with a fork. So remember, when you're cutting stuff up, when you're making soups, you want everything small enough to fit on a spoon, and that's why, like I said, I cut everything fairly small. I'm starting to see a little more. We're almost there. The thyme's dancing in here. Just smells great. I just like that little bit of thyme. It makes it pretty. I like a little green in there, but I like the flavor. And I keep my stock pretty basic. You know, like I said, it's a lot of veggies, and really the only thing is our bay leaves and the peppercorns I put in when I cook the stock. But I don't salt it at that point because my stock, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. You can put it. What I do is I like soup from the local Chinese restaurant. I save those containers, those pint containers. I'll pour my stock in it, throw it in the freezer after it's cooled down, and then it's like a big popsicle. You can put it in you can even use it frozen. You can throw it. I could have thrown a couple of those in this pot, and that was good. All right, it's time for me to gently add the chicken. So I want 4 cups of diced up chicken. Lots of people tell me they like to shred it. I kind of like the chunkiness. Remember, it's still got to sit on the spoon. So now basically all we got to do is get this heated through. It's only going to take a couple minutes. But I'm going to take a break, move some of this stuff out of the way, and get this served up. Be right back. Alright, this is beautiful. It came out just the way I wanted. So really, the next thing is just to enjoy it for a minute. We're going to dish it up. Apologize for my hands being a little scratched. Yesterday was nail trimming for the rabbits, and they don't like it. But we love our rabbits, so we'll take a little punishment. So I've got a little bit of linguine I had today. Like I said, I'm just going to take it, cut it up. It's going to be perfect. Pretty good. I think I did a good job. And my ladle, whatever that is. This is a really good soup. Lots of flavor, good for you. I like getting some of that thyme off the top. So then I got myself a little Italian parsley. I just like a little color from it. It's all about presentation, right? And last but not least, I got a little real authentic, fresh grated Parmesan Reggiano cheese. If you're serving this to kids and you're afraid they're not going to like the bite of this, put some grated cheddar, Swiss, anything you want on it. But this is an adult way to do it. And that looks absolutely wonderful. Hope you try it, enjoy it. Really wasn't that hard. Like I said, the stock's the hardest thing. And you know, truth be known, I've made a lot of soup in my day kind of last minute by running to the grocery store and buying a box of stock. You can do that. I'm not gonna yell at anyone for that, but soup's not hard to make. Some of it's a little more tedious. I've made some soups here I know that probably were a little more intimidating, but this isn't one of them. This is really easy. You need to try it. So, like I said, please try this stuff. Have fun. You know, kitchen's a great place. Teach your kids how to cook. If you've got kids getting ready to go off to college, you need to know how to make some of this stuff so they're not eating out every night. You can't eat at McDonald's every day. I'm not supposed to say that, right? But literally, it's easy. Hope you subscribe. Get your family to subscribe. And try some of this stuff. Comment. Let me know what you think. And just look around your fridge, your pantry, see what you got and what you can make. That's what soups and stews are all about. So Hope you enjoyed this. Have a great day.